hear voices all the time. These voices have only one purpose: to make me fearful, to make me doubt myself. In fact, I hear them right now as I'm standing here talking to you. They are telling me that I am not smart enough, interesting enough, or entertaining enough to be here. And oh yes, I am not worthy. It's a good thing I don't listen to the voices. Where would I be if I did? I certainly wouldn't have the courage to stand here, and I wouldn't have a courageous career, a courageous life. My secret? I have superpowers. No, I can't fly or become invisible or lift a bus. My superpowers are more human, but they are powerful. And I know you have superpowers too. But before I talk about superpowers, I want to get back to those voices because I know I'm not alone in those courage-destroying thoughts either. Left unchecked, they can demolish a career and a fulfilling life. I learned that early in grammar school when the voices interfered in my childhood. They told me that I was no good at sports, so I didn't even try. I recall many painful times when the kids at school would select teams, and every time without fail, I was the last one chosen. And they would say, "Ugh, we're stuck with Cook again." That was me. Afterwards, I would walk home alone to cry. I wonder how many people allow voices to interfere in their lives like that. Let me ask you, how many of you know somebody with dreams of becoming a leader, of doing something different, of making a difference, of taking a risk? Does that person hear voices? Are they courageous enough to ignore them? I mean, I'm not talking about being fearless or being free of self-doubt. We all have these fears. But courage, according to Mark Twain, is the resistance of fear, the mastery of fear, not the absence of fear. So initially, as a mentor for professional women, I wanted to help women create courage. Studies associate a lack of confidence and courage to compete with why women are missing in certain competitive professions like engineering, technology, and finance. Some women are afraid to even enter into these professions, but if they do, many don't have the conviction, the resilience, and the armor to stay. They quit. Recently, a young woman said to me, "I chose my career thinking I could really make a difference, but now, 5 years later, I'm looking for my escape." The studies and the research shows that women in these competitive professions are more likely to look for their escape than women in other professions. So now, after working with women and becoming a social scientist and an educator and mentor, I've continued on the journey to look for ways to create courage for everybody. I've tried some of the more popular techniques myself because, well, it couldn't hurt. So I learned how to use positive affirmations. Picture my office with Post-it notes all over it. I learned how to hold my body and strike a pose. And yes, that gave me an adrenaline rush for that second, but it's not sustainable. I learned to fake it till you make it, only to be caught in the faking mode. Not good. I don't advise it. I went back to school getting multiple graduate degrees, a PhD, and a basket full of certificates to show those voices my worth. This did not deter them. They were not impressed. I learned how to control my thoughts, which drive my feelings. I learned how to control my feelings, which drive my thoughts. But if I could control anything, I would control those voices and tell them to get the heck out of my head. Maybe some of these things work for some of you. I don't know. I'm a simple person looking for a simple solution, something practical that even I could do and that works. I began to do my own research, exploring the science behind creating courage, finding a solution perfect for everybody, suitable for the workplace and for life. Identifying and using your personal strengths is key to unlocking your courage-creating superpowers, and it has been a game changer in the field of positive psychology. You see, Martin Seligman's seminal work introduced a major shift in psychology from focusing on everything that is wrong about you to instead identifying what is right about you. Already rich in research, this theory and the use of personal strengths has empirical support. One recent New Zealand study introduced using personal strengths in the workplace and had workers report back the high-strength individuals versus the low-strength workers. The workers that reported high strength were 18 times more likely to flourish than workers reporting low-strength use. I mean, that's amazing. Another UK study taught the workers also to use their strengths and then asked them to describe the value they experienced. As they began to talk about their experience, a pattern began to emerge. The scientists noticed that as they talked about using their strengths more and more, they were creating something called a virtuous circle. Now, a virtuous circle is a chain of events that reinforce themselves through a feedback loop with positive results. So let me show you. The individual would first use their strengths, which would create a positive outcome, which would then create optimism, which would build resiliency, which would increase performance, which would inspire the worker to go back and use their strengths again. And on we go. Picture a flywheel. Jim Collins uses the analogy of the flywheel effect in his book, Good to Great. Getting a flywheel started takes a lot of effort, but once it gets going, it generates a momentum of its own, and suddenly it is effortless. The virtuous circle is an upward spiral. The more the workers reported using their strengths, the greater their courage. They turned their strengths into superpowers. Now, I know some of you are sitting here thinking these powers are not as spectacular as Superman's ability to fly or Wonder Woman's supersonic speed, but for us mere mortals, they can help us achieve our dreams, and that is pretty darn spectacular if you ask me. And the beauty of this research is that it has a practical application, and you don't need to have a therapist or a coach to apply the findings. All you need to do is identify your strengths. There are questionnaires available on the internet that can help you do that, but why not tap into your own awareness, identifying even deeper insight through that emotional connection? I uncovered my superpowers when I began to meditate and reflect back on times when I was at my best, when I was operating from my heart, when I felt courageous. As a young mother, working to support my family and complete my MBA, landing my first managerial job at a candy factory was a dream come true. But on my first day, a senior manager, Dana, came up to me and said, "What are you doing here? I told Ralph not to hire you, yet here you are. You are not good enough." Can you imagine? I didn't need her to say those things. The voices were already saying that. It was a rough start the first couple of months. And she continued to harass me, and the voices, they sided with her, growing louder and louder, telling me I was not good enough, whatever that means, and that I should quit. I recall wondering if the voices and Dana were right, but I couldn't quit. I had 2 small children at home depending upon me. I recall looking around for an opportunity to show everyone I was good enough. And it was then that I discovered my superpowers. My superpowers are perseverance and curiosity, ideal for problem solving. And it just so happens that the plant had a big problem. They were losing large amounts of raw materials, sugar and cocoa butter, every single month. Using my superpowers, I uncovered the primary sources of the problem by going out and working in the plants, learning the manufacturing process with perseverance, never giving up despite the extra time and effort and working way beyond my job description, and with curiosity, asking the plant workers a ton of questions about the methods being used. Well, the plant manager was thrilled. Upper management was thrilled. Dana was not so much. But although she continued to harass and bully me, her arrows became ineffective. Nobody cared. But listen to me, that's not what mattered. I didn't care. I had created courage by demonstrating my value to myself. My superpowers were unleashed, and I have been leaning on them ever since. To find your superpowers, simply begin by reflecting and meditating on times when you are at your best, when you are operating from your heart, when you are courageous. When I work with groups, I ask them to close their eyes and find their breath. Why don't we try that? Take a moment to close your eyes and experience the silence as you find your breath. Go ahead, close your eyes. Just like in any simple form of meditation, focusing on your breath can calm your mind and bring you into the moment. It is a great way to get centered and to energize awareness. Now, as you sit here with your eyes closed, allow your breath to slow down. Don't force it, just tell it, breath, slow down. Let it find its own rhythm. And as your mind wanders, which it will do naturally, bring it back to your breath, back to your body. Now, with your focus on your breath, imagine a time when you were at your best, when you were operating from your heart, when you felt courageous. See the images of this experience as if you're watching a movie. What are you doing? Who are you with? Where are you? How are you behaving? How are others reacting to your behavior? Notice your thoughts and how you feel right now as you sit in this room focused on your awareness. Can you identify what it is about you that brought this particular experience to your mind? What strength do you notice in yourself? Does it feel familiar? Or is it a surprise? How do you feel about this strength right now? Now, think of a word that describes your strength. Repeat it in your mind. For example, I would say, my strength is perseverance. Let's say it in our minds together. Say, my strength is fill in the blank with your word. Let's try that again. My strength is fill in the blank with your word. Now, let's call out our strengths out loud and together. Come on, do it with me. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. My strength is perseverance. Very good. Okay, open your eyes. Okay, so how do you use your strengths in your daily life? Can you use it more? Why not exploit it and use it everywhere to create your own virtuous circle? Turn your strengths into your superpowers. You know, once I identified my superpowers, I leaned on my perseverance to run and win 10K races, to play golf, to do yoga, to do CrossFit. It turns out I'm not so bad at sports after all. You see, by leaning on your superpowers, doors will open and alternatives will appear. Positive behaviors and emotions will follow, creating more opportunities in your day and more abundance in your life. Using your superpowers to create courage is not just simple and practical, it is magical. So, do you want to feel courageous? Sometimes we can't just wait for courage to come. We need to create it. For those who hear voices in your head or from someone like Dana, lean on your strengths to drown them out. For those who feel like you're not good enough, unworthy, lean on your strengths to find opportunities to shine. For those who feel discouraged, like you're looking for your escape, you want to quit, lean on your strengths to create resiliency so you don't quit. Lean on your strengths to create your own virtuous circle, your own superpowers, your own courage. You know, we were made to be courageous. Courage is a fundamental virtue. It is the essence of the hero's journey. The science behind strength development holds the key to that journey. Share this discovery with your friends, your coworkers, your family, so that they can create courageous lives and they can support you on your journey. Imagine if each one of us committed to developing and using our superpowers together, all operating from our hearts, all at our best. We could create the ultimate virtuous circle. We could create a virtuous world, a courageous world. Imagine that. That is what inspires me. I hope it inspires you too. Thank you.